Liu. There's a man named Liu in Sichuan County, and he's vicious and vicious. He's like a tiger in a suit. He was later moved from Sichuan to Yi County. His bad habits did not change. People in the countryside were afraid of him and hated him. Liu has acres of land next to a family named Mao. Mao was a quick worker and planted peach trees on the ground. When the peach trees first started to bear fruit, the Mao family's son took them. After meeting Liu, he drove him off the trees in a rage, pointed at them and said that he owned them. Mao's son came home crying and told his father. By the time Mao was surprised, Liu had rushed to the door to hurl insults and threatened to go to the office to complain. Mr. Liu was furious and angry, comforting him with a smile. At this time, Li Kushi, a hometown in Liaotong County, opened a pawn shop in Yi County. Liu came into town with paper and met him. Knowing his hometown, Mr. Li asked him, "What's going on?" Liu told him about the lawsuit. When Li Kushi listened, he laughed and said, "Your reputation is well known to all. How dare he lie to you because I have known Mao for a long time. Don't turn things around. When we're done, tear up his paper and drag him into the pawn shop." He says to mediate between the two later and stop arguing. Liu, still resentful, secretly took the pen in the shop, rewrote the paper, and prepared to tell him later. After a while, Mao came to the shop and told Li Kushi in detail about the consequences and begged Li Kushi to resolve the dispute for him. Mao said, "I'm a cropman. I haven't seen a judge in half my life. As long as I don't fight a lawsuit and have a few peach trees, I can't dare to take possession of them." Li Kushi called out Liu and told Mao of his intention to give up his family. Liu again pointed to the heavens and cursed, and Mao Guang, surnamed Mao, spoke well, but did not dare to refute it at all. After 4 or 5 days, Mr. Li met a man in a village in Liu and said he was dead. Li Kushi was shocked and sighed. Later, Mr. Li went out to meet a man with a cane, much like Mr. Liu. He's the one who got to the front. Mr. Liu greeted him warmly and invited him to his home. "I heard you passed away the other day." "That's a lie coming from somewhere," Mr. Li said. Liu refused to answer and dragged him into the village with great vigor. After getting home to arrange the wine, he said, "The rumors before are not false at all. The day before yesterday, I went out and met two people who wanted to arrest me. Ask me something. They just said they didn't know. I think I've been in and out of the office for more than a decade, and I'm not afraid to see the chief, so I'm going with them." Walking into the courtroom, I met the officer sitting above, his face furious, and I said, "Are you Liu? He is full of evil and won't repent, and he takes everything else's. Someone as brutal and violent as you should be blown to death in the oil pan." One person near him checked the books and said, "This person has done good deeds once and should not be killed." The officer looked at the books and his anger lightened slightly, saying, "Send him back for a while." Dozens of people shouted at me for leaving. I said, "What brings me here? What's the matter with me? Ask me to explain." The clerk walks down with the book and points to one of the above. It says, "In 1640, with $300, save a couple and reunite them. Without this, I'll die today and let you live as an animal." I heard, terrified, and rushed out with the two men who had me. They demanded bribes from me, and I said angrily, "You don't know, how dare you ask a tiger for meat?" When Liu has been in and out of the government office for 20 years for extorting other people's money, they dare not ask again. Sent me to the village entrance and arched me and said, "You didn't get a bite of your drink on this business." After they laughed, I came to awake inside, and I had been out of my breath for 2 days. When Li Kushi heard the news, he felt strange and asked him about the good deed he had done. It turned out that in 1640, there was a famine, and people were eating. Mr. Liu was working as a slave in Sichuan County. One day, a man and a woman cried so hard they asked why they did it. "We've only been married for more than a year," he replied. "We can't live together in this year's disaster. We'll just have to grieve." After a short while, they met again in front of an oil shop, as if they were fighting over something with the owner. Mr. Liu came to ask what was going on. They were starving to death and survived every day by asking for my marmalade, said the owner. Ma, today I want to sell my wife again. My family has bought more than 10 copies. This is good. As long as the price is cheap, I will take her. Otherwise, there's a ridiculous man like you, who's constantly torturing people, the man said. Xiaomi is now as expensive as a pearl. If you don't want 300 cents, it's not enough for me to escape. If I wanted to sell my wife to keep us alive, why would I? I'm afraid to make a price, but I'm just asking you to do it. Liu pitied them and asked the owner how much he could pay. The owner said, today, a woman is worth at most 100 grand. Liu asked the shopkeeper not to miss his 300 articles. He's willing to step in half. The shopkeeper refused. This man is vulgar and petty, and it's not worth fighting with him anymore, Liu told the man, young and impetuous. I'd rather give you 300 cents. Wouldn't it be better if you could escape the desert and the couple could be together? So I took the money out of my pocket and gave it to him. The couple cried and thanked Mr. Liu before leaving. After Liu finished speaking about it, Li Kushi lamented him. Since then, Liu's previous bad habits have all changed. Now Liu is in his 70s and still in good health. Last year, when Li Kushi went to Zhou village, he met Liu and argued with others, surrounded by many people to persuade him, and he did not listen. Do you want to sue the peach trees again? Mr. Li said, laughing. Liu stopped arguing at once, lost his anger, didn't say a word, and went straight away.
Alright, this story has come to an end. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you.